Well, bom dia. Another track, another bike, and this time it's the much eagerly anticipated KTM 1290 Super Duke R, the Beast 3.0. So today we've got a morning on the roads and an afternoon on track, so we're going to get plenty of assessment of the new Beast. There's lots different. I mean, we're not just talking about little tweaks here and there. There's lots and lots of changes, mainly this all new frame, completely new electronics. For starters, there's a linkage for the first time for the Super Duke. After KTM banged on about years that the direct mount for the shot was the way forward, this time we've got a linkage. So lots and lots of little bits as well, lots of sort of dynamic tweaks. Let's go riding.
So, you've been on a very exciting, rampant launch with one of the most beastly bikes available to buy.
The Beast 3.0, as they're calling it. It's never been the most compliant bike, is it?
No, but part of the charm was that it's just an absolute riot, isn't it? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and what I love about this bike is that KTM could have very easily gone, you know what? We see the Tuono as the main rival, because it is. Yeah. You know, all the rest are too soft. You've got the Speed Triple and the Japanese thousands.
MT10s.
Which are, I mean, the MT10's are up there, but the rest of the other Japanese thousands, which are just, they're ornaments. They're just like, they're not super nakeds. You can barely call them nakeds. But yeah, what I love about the KTM is that it's still very much a Super Duke. It's still bonkers.
Good.
Because the Tuono is a super bike without fairings and with upright bars, whereas the KTM is a bespoke anomaly, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a bespoke naked bike.
It's not like anything else out there. From the ground up, that's what it's been built to be, and that's why it has that extra little bit of something that you're riding. Because the 20 is brilliant, but it is an RSV4 with flat bars. Yeah. It's just a more comfortable sports bike, whereas KTM have gone, well, we're going to do this differently, and I admire that. Yeah. But the chassis, so the frame change, obviously the suspension's been tweaked and made it a bit more turny.
Sporty, yeah.
Because it wasn't particularly turny before.
This is it. KTM wanted to provide that feeling. They knew that when you loaded the front, it was really vague and you couldn't trail brake and you couldn't do any of that.
Again, I've owned both gens Super Dukes before. So the forks, it always annoyed me that they were adjustable, but barely. Weren't they? 1 click, 2 click. Is it still the same fork system, or is they updated that with a bit more?
Completely new forks.
Okay, and are they proper adjustable forks now?
Yep, you got preload adjusters.
Praise the Lord. Preload. You can actually change the preload. Yep. Because we don't all weigh the same and stuff.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. What a novelty.
Praise the Orange Lord.
Yeah. And we were very much indeed in the church of Brap.
I love Sunday. That. Hang on, that's Church of Brap.
Ready to race. Alright, first things first. Track mode. Right, you pissant. Oh god. So the Beast 3.0 then. Oh yes. I've been very much looking forward to this, for obvious reasons. Oh god. Yes. It's still wheelies. This is a Sunday, by the way. And welcome to the Church of Brap. And obviously when you get on a KTM Super Duke R, if you get track mode, you go to track mode and you deactivate anti-wheelie and you activate Supermoto ABS mode. I'm a little disappointed, not in the bike at all, but I was expecting a different feeling. I mean, first impressions, man, this front end is pretty delicious. Way more planted, way more feeling There's not so much sort of sagginess in the bike. It's way more kind of taut and predictable. You don't get a sort of boaty, floaty, boaty action of the old bike. And you know, the front end itself, I mean, it's planted. This is like, you know, this is proper super naked territory. That's wet. That's a wetty. And the feeling, that's what we were missing with the old bike. It was a feeling, that kind of connection you get with the surface beneath. This firmly has it. Dons the sack, mate. Dons the sack. I've got a really itchy arsehole. And of course we need to talk about this little arrangement here, don't we? The new dash, rather trendy, nice and easy. And these, the switchgear, the buttons. This is much nicer. I didn't like the old setup. Could have looked alright, but it was old. It was archaic, and time for some change. And this is much more intuitive, much nicer to use. You press the go in, so to go into the dash, you press the right, and you've got your sort of selections. And also over here, you've got presets. So rather than funning around and doing all this, you can set modes up, rider modes, C1, C2, custom 1, custom 2. Yeah, rather trendy. Yeah. In terms of that front end, so the suspension is completely different. You've got all this adjustability now. Obviously, all the chassis work. I mean, the geometry isn't just a little bit different; it is massively different.
Okay.
You know, the engine's up in the frame, the front end's been dropped.
Because the exhaust routing's all completely different. And that looks, again, similar to the old RC8, the way the exhaust routing goes. Almost like it's identical exhaust.
Yes. Now, KTM were very adamant, and straight away they were like, no, it's not an RC8R frame. No. Right. And of course, look, it's not. It's not. The geometry's different. Obviously, you look at the RC8 and the 2020 version, you go, well, there's similarities, but I think the only similarity is that it's orange.
Okay.
So when you put an orange tube next to another orange tube, it looks the same, but they might be very different orange tubes. And of course, there's lots of stiffness and torsional rigidity changes, and what it adds up to, certainly on the road.
Sorry.
So what this all adds up to is a much better front end feeling. It is.
Just the front, because hasn't the rear got a different linkage now? Well, actually, it has a linkage, because before it was just.
Yeah. And again, we'll get onto that in a minute, but in terms of a front end feeling, what you want is confidence, and instantly you got more confidence.
Okay. What tyre is it on?
S22s.
As standard?
As standard.
Nice.
Yeah, so no matter where you are in the world, you'll have S22s on. So.
Which is an amazing all-round tyre.
So yeah, we did a morning on the road, and there's a couple of things. One was the front end, and just straight away, it was just much sexier. Other changes. Obviously, there's more power. It's 3 horsepower more. There's more torque, but it's moved down to the bottom end. In many ways, it's more refined. It's almost like the bike the last generation should have been, because it's not night and day better. And a lot of people will jump on. A lot of less experienced riders will jump on and go, "Well, it's all right. It's not much different."
But if you're pushing it around a circuit, for example,
we'll get that later on. But in terms of where this bike will be ridden, and let's be honest with you, most of these bikes will never see a track.
No.
Although I'm glad to see that some of them do.
Yeah.
And especially with this bike now, it's worth it. But most of these bikes will be on the road.
So would you say it's more refined than the previous bike? As in, is it a bit not softer, but is it a bit more controllable, a bit more manageable?
Yes.
So do you think it might have lost a bit of its rawness?
No.
So it's still mental?
It's still mental.
Okay, but you're just a bit less likely to die?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Exactly. I mean, there's only, before it would shake its head everywhere, and it was, I wouldn't say dangerous, because it kept you on your toes and it was good fun.
I mean, as soon as you opened the throttle, the front wheel would obviously come away from the tarmac, and therefore you couldn't do anything.
Exactly. And a lot of it, again, with this, the linkage system. Yeah. So rather than it just squatting.
So it's changed this chain pitch again.
Yes.
Lots of that this year going on, isn't it? Yeah.
So you get this squat, this inherent squat with the direct mounting, and with the linkage, it's more progressive. You've got more stroke, and it's just much plusher.
Yeah.
You don't get that. It doesn't go bah, and the front wheel goes up. Obviously, it goes up, but every time you touch the throttle before, it would just send it into a bit of a shimmy, especially on rough roads. And of course, we rode some really, really quite rough roads in Portimao, near Portugal. In Portugal, near Portimao.
Okay, so that's good. So generally then, the removal of squat is making it less prone to wheelie?
Definitely.
Okay.
So not only have you've got both ends sorted now, you've got a really confidence-inspiring front end that you can roll into a corner and you can trail brake and you can push the front end more without it kind of that vague feeling that it's riding too high.
Yeah.
And you've got the rear now, which is controlled more and no squatting, and it's basically sorted the whole bike out.
Cool. Because you used to be able to, you'd come out of a corner, I mean it was exciting as shit, but you'd come out of a corner on the gas and the front would come up and then you'd just sort of disappear off and then you'd kind of have to do this, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant in its own mad way,
Yeah.
but it sounds like it's, you know, it sounds like perhaps moving on to a track scenario, it's going to be a bit more compliant and ultimately a faster lap time if that's what you should do with it.
It's very, very naughty. It's very, very naughty. I love the way, you know, it's smoother, it's easier to ride, it's, I wouldn't say less intimidating, because you open that throttle, it is certainly intimidating, but it's more of a beast. Whoa! Yeah, the harder you ride it, the better it is. I still maintain, yes, the Tuono might be, it's based on a superbike. Of course it's going to go around a corner faster. But opening the throttle of a Super Duke and let it shimmy and shake, and well, there's less of it this year. This is a bespoke naked bike, and it will always put a bigger smile on your face than the Tuono for me. This is nice, isn't it? What a beautiful spot. And that's another thing that's definitely improved, is the quick shifter. Much quicker, much slicker. There's no, I haven't had one false neutral or any sort of funny business. The cut time is shorter, so yeah, throughout the rev range as well. Obviously it still works best when the bike's revving high, when the dash reads close to the red line. Yeah. And as you can see now, we're on the motorway and I'm not using my hands because I'm using the new Super Duke cruise control system. I can take my hands on the bars, I can swim, I can do other stuff with my hands, I can perhaps you know, peel a carrot, you know, that sort of thing. Improve the aero as well though. Alright, so back at the track for the lunch, and let's get it down and dirty on track at Portimao.
I hope you have enjoyed it.
Oh, we lost some number plates again. How many? 1, 2, 3. Just a 3 this time.
There is far more than meets the eye with this bike, with the 2020 model. There's lots of subtle changes, and yes, the power's great. You've got 3 more horsepower at the top. There's more torque and it's moved further down, so you get that instant barp. And yes, the front end feeling is incredible now. But the little things that I really, really kind of tickle my todger. Things like the rear sets now can be adjustable and you can move them up, so you get more ground clearance. The forks now, the bump stops have gone, so you don't get that harsh feeling on the brakes. There's the ability to change the race shift straight away with just a few bolt changes. And the little things like the zip ties, whereas before you had to use zip ties to measure the distance, now they've got proper fork travel meters. So, but anyway, let's go front to back. So the wheels are 300 grams lighter, love the design, and on those wheels we have Bridgestone S22s. The front is exactly the same as the ones that me and you can buy from the shelf at home. The rear has been changed, so Jeremy McWilliams and the design team kind of wanted a bit more feeling and that sensation on the rear of the tyre under gas. And they ended up with this prototype, which is now obviously the OE fitment for the 1290. Front end wise, the offset's been upped by 3mm, and as we move further back, this tank, now it kind of looks very similar but styling tweaks. The tank's actually gone down from 18 litres to 16 litres, and part of that is because they needed to house a larger airbox. Now the airbox is 2.8 litres bigger, you do the maths, and the fuel tank's 2 litres less. So And by doing so, we've now got the ability for top spray. So, and a lot of stuff was kept quiet about the engine. Now, there's 3 more horsepower at peak power, so there's 180 horsepower. We've got 140 newton meters of torque, and the 1290 now delivers 120 newton meters of those torques at just 5,000 RPM. So you're getting a lot of shove low down. Now, there's no kind of major technology or anything like that. Obviously, we've got the top sprayers, which contribute to that, and the larger airbox, but most of the power is kind of improved efficiency and combustion chambers. Nothing really fancy in there, like I said. The gearbox has been made slicker, and also the shifter. And so onto electronics then. We've now finally got a 6-axis IMU. So that now takes into consideration the drift function. This is what makes the 2020 electronics stand out above the old model. Obviously, we've got the Supermoto ABS system, which you can basically, it means you can turn the ABS off. Obviously, the front still works. You can do skids. Now, the exhaust, we've been riding variations. So we've got the race bike with the full Acra system on. Sounds naughty. We've had some with the Krapovich slip-ons and some with a stock system, stock cans. Now, the headers are bigger. We've got 54mm at the front, and the rear spank cylinder, or the rear cylinder, is 60mm. So let's go on to that frame then. We've got 3 times the torsional stiffness over the old model, and the engine is now a load-bearing part of the frame, just like the RC8R. So the engine has been raised 38mm in the chassis, and that obviously increases the centre of gravity. Another big thing is the shock. So KTM were harping on for a while about how good the PDS system was, which was a direct mount to the swing arm. And now finally we've got a linkage system, which is more progressive, better damping control, and there's more travel. So it's just an all-round better feeling in the bike. And talking about swing arm, completely different swing arm. We've now got a brace on the bottom for the linkage, and there's all sorts of torsional rigidity and different changes in that in the strength of the chassis. And obviously, this puppy here, a lot of people have been moaning about the fact that it hasn't got a trellis subframe. Well, not only is this lighter, but apparently this unit here, this puppy here, can take 1,000 kilograms. Now, we're about to test this later on when 12 or 13 of us morbidly obese journos get on the back and see if we can break it. Proper journalism. Well, onto the track then. So we got out and had a bit of lunch and went, like I said, had 6 sessions, you know, and
it's not an easy bike to ride, is it?
It's not, sessions. But I tell you what, I would be knackered riding the old bike.
Right, okay.
This, again, it's not massively different. It's not night and day different, but the harder you push it, the more rewarding it is, and the more tangible the changes become.
Okay then, so it sounds like it's a more manageable bike. It's obviously less tiring. I remember we had the first gen. Was it the first gen in Portimao?
Yes.
No, not Portimao, Park Motor.
Yes.
And it felt like you were setting the world on fire, yeah. But then someone would come past you on a sports bike and go, okay, yeah, I'm not going very fast at all. But do you think it would still run with some? I know the modern crop of sports bikes, like especially European ones, is right up there now. But do you think, you know, I mean, McWilliams obviously is a very competent rider. He'd still run rings around most of us on that, wouldn't he?
Yes. And
because you were on slicks on the track as well.
We had, so there was track bikes with full Acra systems.
Oh.
Which were, I mean, you look at the pipe work on that, you've seen it.
Yeah.
The pipe work of that exhaust. We had slicks, VO2 slicks.
VO2s,
nice. VO2s.
Yeah.
Nowadays, even with the S22s on, even with that street tyre, you could push, and I reckon it would be a second and a half quicker, 2 seconds quicker than the old bike.
Wow, than the 2.0?
Than the 2.0. Just purely because you can push.
Drive out of corners and
you can
break
push the front end, you can break into them, and you could get on the gas and drive. And we'll come to this, so the electronics. Now, there's a lot of electronics upgrades for 2020 across all the bikes, aren't there? And the Super Duke is the same. It's so good.
It's still fully manual suspension though, isn't it? It's still old clickers. Yeah.
Yes. But in terms of electronics, traction control, the traction control, as Jeremy McWilliams told me, he said, a lot of riders, when they went on track, they turned the TC off because it was too intrusive. So they went back between Williams and KTM. They said, right, well, we need to develop a system that riders can work with. So they developed a system, and it is so much better. You can use, with these S22s had done 4 hours constant abuse, and even right the last session of the day, you could ride the bike without it going or sliding and gripping and being way too intrusive.
And then it, like shock pump, was it getting...
No, none of that.
Really?
No, because of the linkage.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas on the old bike, you'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
And this bike, the new version, it's way more seamless.
Yeah. Well, the old bike, you'd have like a full front tyre left.
Yeah.
You'd never be on the floor. And no rear tyre.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an anomaly, that bike.
It is.
Nobody else makes anything that's like that. That is their super bike, because they've said years ago they're never going to make a super bike, which I don't believe. I think they're definitely going to make one.
I hope so.
I mean, come on, MotoGP.
I hope so.
All that information. Anyway, so it's their super bike, but it's their take on it, and it is a massively exciting thing to ride.
It is. I mean, I think for most of the sessions I was out there yesterday, I was either laughing or giggling uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like forget the lap time.
Yeah.
Just go and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Cock around.
Yeah.
Have a laugh with your mates. And then if you do overtake a sports bike or two, it's like scalp.
And I guarantee you with the new bike, you're more likely to.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, the 3 horsepower and definitely the extra torque helps. It's much smoother off the bottom end. You could, rather than it coming in and you get that hit, it's much smoother and more progressive. But in terms of top end, you're not going to notice a difference in power.
Is it Euro 5?
I'm glad you asked me that. It's Euro 5 compatible.
So it is Euro 5?
No, it's Euro 4. So the engine and the exhaust emissions and noise and everything else are Euro 5, but the whole bike is actually classed as Euro 4 because it's the software and the live data logging and that sort of thing and the intricacies of Euro 5 that's not quite finished yet. So the little bits of software that need to be done, it's not quite ready, but it will be ready soon. So the 2021 bike will be Euro 5, but it won't change. There'll be no...
Euro 5, okay. It has to do with data logging.
They have to do live data.
We should do a video on Euro 5.
Yeah.
Euro 5 would be like the nerdiest video ever. But
hi guys!
welcome to Euro 5 Live! Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're at the track, baby.
You ready, man?
Oh yeah. Time for even more wheelies and knee skids. I think KTM is the only manufacturer where it actually actively encourages you to do wheelies. So this morning we were riding on the road obviously and we had the street setting in and now we've got the track setting in straight away. It's definitely higher. It may not be the fastest, but I doubt there's a bike out there that will give you this much fun factor. Yeah. So the excitement is a bit too much. We've got the power parts puppy, full ACA system, VO2 slicks. I'm moist. I'm very, very moist. Oh, listen to that. Oh my God. Oh yes, baby.
The bike is 15, just over 15 grand.
Okay. But do you get nothing?
You get nothing. So you have to buy the quick shifter.
Even though it's already in it?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
You have to buy the track pack.
Okay.
But basically everything you want and need, essentially, is you have to buy afterwards. You have to buy it afterwards.
So to get a decent spec bike, what are you looking at?
17 grand.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of a more smile, laugh-inducing bike, a better smile, laugh-inducing bike than the 1290 Super Duke R. I mean, there isn't. In terms of A to B madness, I mean, like I said before, it's lost that a bit of danger aspect, but it's still as exciting, definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
Does it still have the dongle thing? Like, do you have to still have, when you turn like wheelie control off and all that sort of stuff, as soon as you turn the key, it does all that annoying gubbins?
That's a very good point, Chris. Thanks for asking. No. So now you don't have to have the dongle, but if you have it in, it will default to street mode if you don't have the track pack.
Yeah.
But all your settings will be remembered.
Okay.
So, and there's a really nice custom button. So you can have, just above the throttle, there's another little switch, C1 and C2, custom 1, custom 2, and you can default your settings to that. So with one touch of a button, you can have everything, traction control, anti-wheelie, brake, throttle, everything done via a button.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's one big problem solved.
So you could be like going fast, like I want to get lap time, and then go, actually I'm going to have a cool down lap here, pull some wheelies and be mental, flick the switch and then
Exactly. But why you want anti-wheel on that bike, you just don't. You don't want it.
So circuit-wise, it's definitely faster around a lap.
Definitely, yeah.
Road-wise, it's easier to ride?
I think with the electronics, I think with the quick shifter, which is an optional extra.
Pricey optional.
Pricey, yeah. I think with all the entire package makes it easier to ride, and therefore, I think when we use the word refinement over the previous model, I think it's the package that it should have been previously. It's not refinement of KTM is quite a rarity. I'm not saying it's refined, but all the bits, all the sort of little bits have been kind of.
But it's quite a big jump. It was a big. Gen 2 was a big jump. So do you think this is the same jump again?
Yeah, easy.
Easy?
Easy.
Really?
Easy.
Wow. Because it looks kind of similar, doesn't it?
It does, but don't be fooled.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't be fooled. It's still a beast.
Oh, this is a one-handed lap for Portimao. Well, the day is done, and I wish it wasn't, because we've had 6 20-minute sessions, and usually you'd be gazeboed around here. It's a physical track, it's a physical bike, but I tell you what, it's not as physical as the old bike. What a joy. You know, in some ways a lot of people will be gutted that it's not a Shiono, and it never will be, I don't think. It's not a naked super bike. It may not be the fastest, and it certainly ain't as fast as Shiono over a lap, but you will be laughing harder, you'll be smiling wider. This is unique. And long may it continue.